The following is a not safe for work editorial / response to Divirstyanddragons post last night regarding our bestest buddy, McKenzie DeArmas.
We're laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizards, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show.
We're back twice in 1 week. I thought, oh, well, they're not going to do anything else stupid after this, right? But oh no, they did. They did. And they did it in the worst possible way. So what are we talking about? We're talking about my prediction that they were going to redo Ravenloft for 2025, 2026, which really isn't a prediction because they said they were going to redo Ravenloft for 2025, 2026. We're talking about this very unusual picture, and we're talking about the list of new subclasses that are coming out for the product that they're coming out in October, which is 99% most likely Ravenloft. And in this, they talked about the brand new original subclasses that they're made available: the College of the Spirits Bard, the Grave Domain Cleric, spelled C-L-E-T-I-C, way to go, McKenzie, the Phantom Rogue, the Shadow Sorcerer, the never seen before Hexblade Patron Warlock, the Undead Patron Warlock, the Reanimator Artifactor, and the Hollow Warden Ranger. And they would like you to believe that the individual who is working on these is the first time we've ever made these. These are all brand new, and it's McKenzie, and she's claiming she created them. The Hexblade Patron, of course, has been around since day one of 5e. 99% of every 5e game I was in as a player or ran as a DM had at least one, if not more, Hexblade Warlocks because it was so broken. And even worse was the Hexblade Paladin Warlock, which was even more broken. So no, you did not invent that, nor did you invent the College of the Spirits Bard, the Grave Domain Cleric, spelled C-L-E-T-I-C, way to go, McKenzie, the Phantom Rogue, the Shadow Sorcerer. The Shadow Sorcerer's been around as long as sorcerers have. Hexblade Patron Warlock has been around for as long as Warlocks has. Undead Patron Warlock, again, you didn't correct this. Reanimator Artifactor, didn't create this. Hollow Warden Ranger, didn't create these. None of these are new. They've all been around since 5e, since 2014. There's no reason to reprint them because 2025 D&D is backwards compatible, right? So we don't need a conversion guide, and we don't need to see brand new versions of these things that have existed for 11 years or longer in the case of the Warlock, which has been around since 4th edition. Now, obviously, after they dropped this, they had to bring out somebody to talk about this. And they brought out the most qualified individual they could to talk about this product. McKenzie! Yes, she's back to make our lives even miserable. The rumor that she was looking for other work and she was gone, I guess, is untrue. She's, I guess, the lead designer for Ravenloft 2025. We've got a brand new interview with her and the soulless remains of what used to be Todd. This is unbelievably painful to listen to, unbelievably painful to watch. She basically lies her way through the entire thing. She's using her cute anime voice. It's really hard to take you seriously as a champion for autism when you're using your cute anime voice and lying and constantly using autism as a flag. As somebody who is autistic, I find you unbelievably repulsive, McKenzie. You are a bane to disability rights, or neurodivergency, because everything that comes out of her mouth is a lie. And so Double D went through this. So basically, rather than me going through this, I'm just going to repeat what Double D did and then comment on it. And the first thing I'm going to comment on is the voice. Yeah. Why am I not subscribed to Double D? She's using this cute girl anime voice. We know her whole thing is Manic Pixie Dream Girl. I mean, she's even got the Manic Pixie Dream Girl bowl cut. Way to reinforce the stereotype you're trying to continue to claim that you don't want to reinforce, McKenzie. I should warn everybody at this point that this is going to be extremely opinionated and extremely not safe for work. There is very few things that I am strongly as offended by more than McKenzie. In many ways, she's worse than Crawford in my mind because she lies. She lies that she created I created the deck of many things. The deck of many things has existed for 50 years. You didn't create it. I have the first canonical autistic character in the history of Dungeons and Dragons. No, you don't not. And I'm the first canonical autistic player in the history of Dungeons and Dragons because autistic people didn't get to play. No, that's bullshit. And the thing about you beat the guy at Star Wars trivia, bullshit. All right. So let's just watch this and I'll comment where I can. She's going to talk about all the things she created and stuff like that. So there's no reason for me to do it because Double D already did it.
This just would not. I see what they're going after. They're going after the players. They want the players. Or that guy. Actually, I think that guy might still be there. Whatever. I can never remember his name. However, he is now forced to interview the likes of
in like the Eberron setting.
Yeah.
So this is the Reanimator. This takes heavy inspiration from classics like Frankenstein. This is your raising animating corpses, raising things from the dead artificer. This is stitching together flesh golems artificer. The sort of crux of the subclass is this reanimated companion that you raise from the dead. And we wanted to play around with the idea of a companion that's very sort of modular and alterable, where because you are raising this from bits of flesh, you can stitch things on, take things off, alter what.
So it's a necromancer from Diablo, is what you're saying, McKenzie. Basically, you took the artificer / warforge, which has existed since Eberron. You took the zombie building necromancer build, which has existed forever. And you're saying it's now an artificer, even though the artificer's whole thing is machines and robots and machine guns. And you're saying, oh, now the artificer creates undead and can make flesh golems, which have been around forever.
Glands are in it, that sort of very disgusting process. So a lot of the features that you'll get as you sort of level up sort of enhance and develop this lovely reanimated flesh friend. The other thing that's fun about this reanimated...
Remembering the time I beat a middle-aged white guy at Star Wars trivia at our local bookstore when I was 17, he got so pissed that did not happen.
Companion is that because it is
what's that?
Isn't that a flesh golem, not a flesh friend? What the hell?
Yeah, flesh friend is something else. You can buy that at adult bookstores or from, maybe Project Melody's OnlyFans or Jessica Nagiri's OnlyFan. Yeah, if you want a flesh friend.
More or less, yeah. Senior designer, RIP D&D, exactly, Patrick. Yeah. Well, this is
of dead flesh.
Giving you, of course, the little bit of her,
it has
her thoughts, her ramblings.
You can make it explode.
Okay.
Corpse explosion? Oh, yeah, that's a totally original idea, McKenzie, that you totally invented. There's not been corpse explosion builds in Diablo or other video games for forever. There's not a corpse explosion spell. No. Again, another original idea for McKenzie.
Yeah, you can just cause it to. It is a putrid.
What is with the manic pixie dream girl voice for somebody who wants to break boundaries, girlfriend?
Sack of flesh,
yeah,
and it can explode.
Perfect.
And then you just bring it back.
All right.
You also
a flesh friend.
Get some fun.
Todd looks like he's lost what little of his soul has left. I think Todd knows he's next on the chopping block. Now that Crawford and Perkins is gone, and he is so closely related with Crawford and Perkins, so of course he's probably next, and I think he knows it. So you can just tell the soullessness in his eyes.
Fun spells, like all of our artificers.
Like when you have like a little kid and you go up to that Build-A-Bear.
Yes.
Build-A-Bear. Build a zombie.
Well, Sally, what kind of glands you want in this one?
Do as well as some fun interactions with revivification spells as well. There's some fun
Say that
interactions
3
with
times.
Spare the Dying, as well as like Revivify and Raise Dead, which I think is going to be super fun and kind of fits into this weird necromancy niche
Yeah.
that this artificer kind
Right,
of sits
right,
in.
right. Our favorite friend from the schoolyard has something there.
Yep.
Crazy Mouse.
Yeah, Julio.
Give him something.
We got you.
Give him something.
Here. Let's see here.
I love
How could you defend this though? Or the the baking picture that we all know and love by now.
Right.
Dollar. Yeah, there.
Leaning into these sort of archetypal ghosts, which is super fun. We've
Good point,
also,
Praxis.
as the subclass grows, you get a little bit more control over the tales that you can channel, so it's not entirely purely just based on random.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bleeker. Hey, good to see you, buddy. It's probably not that even. They just give her a wide berth. I bet they limit their interactions with her. Very, very much so. And if they do have like a meeting, they probably want like plenty of like third parties there just to make sure she can't say that you said something that offended her. This is the kind of person that is holding America hostage right now. So you're just kind of like, yes, okay, McKenzie.
Obviously, I don't always
You are the
agree with
super
some of
duper
these
brightest.
politics.
You're
In fact,
awesome.
Like you have a little bit more
Double D and I
control over
don't agree
them.
on politics. But I think one of the things, many things Double D and I do agree on is Wizards of the Coast handling or mishandling of the Dungeons and Dragons legacy. So, yeah, I mean, we know that he's when it comes to political statements and some of the statements he's going to make, plus that's his whole character, so just because I'm quoting his video doesn't mean I agree with all his statements. But when it comes to his statements regarding to her and the history of Dungeons and Dragons and how Wizards of the Coast is letting this awful person ruin the game. Yeah.
Problem with that is if you keep doing that long enough, through attrition, you end up, I don't want to say in charge of D&D. She's not even close to being in charge of it yet, but she's climbing the ladder.
She'll be in charge of D&D.
And we've given you a fun new 6th level feature that gives.
I should say this too. I think she just started playing D&D like
McKenzie DeArmas started playing D&D in 2018, and she's now in charge of the hobby. To the fucking Mark from yesterday who told me, oh no, Wizards of the Coast isn't trying to kill D&D. You don't know what you're talking about in regards to D&D not making money and how Wizards of the Coast is changing money. You need to show me your blah, 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 your fucking links. I mean, you weren't actually there at 2020 Hasbro posts. Well, I provided you the links, and if you need any proof of regards to how Wizards of the Coast feels about the legacy of Dungeons and Dragons and its success or failure, you fucking Mark. Jesus, fucking how many fucking condors do we have left out there? Here's all the proof you need. Here's all the proof you need in regards to how Wizards of the Coast feels they need to monetize what's left of the Dungeons and Dragons corpse. This individual.
like 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, man.
She has the autistic paladin. Is this the one?
Yes, yeah, she's got the Asterion.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
Autistic paladin.
What?
Yes, her claim to fame, McKenzie, of course, invented the deck of many things. And her paladin was the first canonically autistic character in the entire history of the game. I'm sorry to all the other players who were autistic, who had characters. You never played the game because McKenzie was first. She's the only one. Nobody else had an autistic character before her. Nobody else in the hobby was autistic before her, because remember, she wants us to believe that people like me weren't allowed to play. If autistic people weren't allowed to play, McKenzie, what the fuck have I been doing for 50 years? If there were no canonically autistic characters, well, I guess all the people who made characters who were autistic and projected their autism through their characters weren't playing, right? It's all you.
Why can't people just be autistic and not their characters?
I like that freeze frame there. It's almost like she's looking right at you, isn't it?
Mhm.
She's looking right at you, Rogan. Why are you asking me that question? I'm reporting you to HR.
The soulless person trying to look into our soul.
Yeah.
She's undead.
She's looking at us for our flash.
Yeah. I will say this. I did scour like her TikTok. It's cringy, but there's not like a ton of like TDS or anything like that. I kind of expected that, at least from what I could tell. I just looked at like the most recent stuff. So I guess there's that. That we just put out the fucking rules.
Let us find out on our own. Shut the fuck up.
That's what they used to do. Here's your game. You do with it what you will.
Yes.
We're giving you the advice. Oh, and by the way, if there's an errata in it, that's one thing. If there's something in error, that's fine, but that would usually just be, they save that for like Dragon Magazine or something like that. Obviously different era. And they could just do a video like, here's the errata.
So they're just trying to do a hard sell then. They're really trying to push the shit out of it.
Yeah. No one of consequence. Exactly. They're fart sniffers.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting high on their own supply.
All right. Now things are getting a little not when we would talk about. So, because we're talking about the announcement of the new Argon Arcana playtest, the new subclasses that we've never seen before, as long as you ignore the fact that they have existed forever. And so, I got a comment. John D. Retired. These idiots are clowns. Yes. The idiots are clowns. But I wanted to respond to Mackenzie's latest bout of stupidity and the individual who was trying to troll me last night, who I schooled. And I just thought, well, I could go through Mackenzie's video, but Double D already did it. And anything I was going to have to say, he was going to say. So why not just ride my coattails and Double D's? Again, content warning. I don't agree with a lot of the things he says politically and his opinions of the left and stuff like that. But when it comes to her, when it comes to Wizards of the Coast, 100% agree. And the mishandling and choosing her as a representative for the new product is just a mishandling. And it's just further proof that Wizards doesn't care. Wizards doesn't want to succeed. They want the hobby to die. They want D&D to die because D&D doesn't make them money. To the motherfucker who argued with me yesterday that they never said that, I proceeded to supply you with a dozen links where they said they do. This is who they think wants to play D&D. This is the individual they choose to represent D&D. This is what they want you to think the hobby is about. The future of the hobby is in the hands of people like McKenzie DeArmas, because Wizards doesn't care, because Dungeons and Dragons doesn't make them any money. And they don't want to be associated with the non-existent negative stereotype that has polluted D&D for 50 years. That never happened. They want you to believe that Mackenzie is the first autistic person to ever play D&D, and she invented the magic things. And now we've got Mackenzie coming out talking about how she invented the Reanimator, and she invented the College of Things, and she invented the Hexblade, and she's going to be the first canonically queer character player in the history of the hobby. And she's probably the next lead designer, and I wouldn't be surprised if her or somebody like her is put in charge of D&D for the next 5 years before Wizards and Hasbro finish what they started in 2020, which is making Dungeons and Dragons a brand, because you can monetize a brand as opposed to the game. The game could cease to exist. Hasbro could milk the brand for another 20 years. If you don't believe me, what was the 50th anniversary product that they came out with? Magic the Gathering Hot Pockets and Dungeons and Dragons meat snacks and Dungeons and Dragons beard oil. That's what they gave us for 2024 50th anniversary. And for 2025, they're giving us a surprise product in October, and it's a surprise horror product in October. And by the way, 2 weeks ago, we told you that rather than do anything original for 2025, 2026, 2027, we're just going to repeat stuff we already did. And I said, well, they're going to do Ravenloft, because they said, well, one of the ones we're going to do is Ravenloft. They said we're going to do Keep on the Borderlands, even though Keep on the Borderlands is in the new starter set. They said we're going to redo Ravenloft. We're probably going to redo Giants. So, because they don't have to do anything new, they can just reprint something they've already reprinted. And why would they need to reprint Ravenloft in 2026, 2027? if it's backwards compatible. There's no need for me to reprint Ravenloft. It already exists, unless, of course, it's not backwards compatible because it's a brand new edition. And you're once again basically just very subtly telling us it is a brand new edition, even though Crawford, when he was being interviewed by Jeannie D, notice Jeannie D's on the outs, told Jeannie D it was a new edition. They released a, not once, but twice, they released a how to fix translation guide. Because again, it's a new edition. If I have to change my character, it's a new edition. If you have to release a brand new version of Ravenloft with re-releases of pre-existing subclasses and then get McKenzie out here to tell us that she invented the subclasses, it's a brand new edition. So Wizards of the Coast is killing Dungeons and Dragons, the game, and they are using McKenzie DeArmas as the first horseman of the apocalypse. And, anybody who thinks, oh, McKenzie's such a great champion for women in the industry, for breaking the cutesy women in the industry, for being a champion for autism, being a champion for LGBTQT in the hobby. Because, we know that autistic people didn't get to play until just now. We know that nobody in the past 50 years who was playing was LGBTQT. She's the first. And then you have her out here and she's saying, I'm McKenzie DeArmas and I'm using my cute little anime voice and I've invented this and aren't I so cute? And I've got my little cute manic pixie dream girl haircut, but I want you to take me seriously because I don't like those stereotypes. Except, of course, you're emulating the stereotype that you claim you don't like. I have way more respect for Project Melody playing D&D, way more respect for nothing but respect for Jessica Nagiri, nothing but respect for the VTubers or the Flesh Tubers who, hey, you're looking at my boobs. I might as well make money of you looking at my boobs, but it has nothing to do with the fact that I play D&D. Then McKenzie. So, yeah, Wizards doesn't want Dungeons and Dragons, the product, to succeed because Dungeons and Dragons is a brand. You can't monetize a product, but you can monetize the brand. They don't need to make D20 Dungeons and Dragons after 2:30 because everything's set in stone and they could just constantly keep regurgitating stuff that they've already done. They can constantly just have other people do the work for them and get paid for it. And then they can just slap Dungeons and Dragons, the name, the brand, on anything you can think of. I'm not drinking soda. I'm drinking bugbear juice. But don't worry, because there is a pot of gold on this rainbow of poop that is McKenzie DeArmas and this latest nonsense from Wizards of the Coast. That is that the fact that Dungeons and Dragons is alive and well, it's just being made by these guys. You want to play D&D the way it's meant to be played and not have to deal with stupid politics, conservative politics, or liberal politics. You just want to belly up to the bar, play Dungeons and Dragons the way it was meant to be played without any of the silliness. But damn. But damn. Mic drop, but damn. Here you go. Stop giving Wizards of the Coast money. Give money to Trollord Games. Give money to the Arcane Library. Give money to me. Fuck, buy my thing. $12 and I won't shove my politics down your throat. I'm McKenzie DeArmas and I invented D&D. I went back in time because I have a TARDIS. And after I beat that guy at a trivia contest, that never happened. And then I went back in time and I actually told Gygax about the player's handbook and dice and the deck of many things. And yeah, I'm just so cute, but I don't want you to think of me as cute. And that's what D&D wants. And that's what I say. Wizards is not making as much money as they did last year. Wizards has actually said, we can't make money out of D&D, so we're going to monetize it through other ways. And that's just what we have to expect. This is the future of the hobby. McKenzie DeArmas is the first of the four horsemen. D&D died the day that Chris Perkins gave his 2 weeks notice. Just accept that. Embrace the memory of what it used to be, how awesome it was for 40 some odd years. Love it. And then continue on playing a game that is good as, if not better, created by people who don't care about politics, just want to make a good product. Castles and Crusades from Troll Lord Games. Shadow Dark from the Arcane Library. Adventurer Conqueror's King. Or my stuff, you know, I mean, I got to toss in my 2 cents that I think you should support me. Why am I upset? I don't know. I shouldn't be that upset. Just, you know, yeah. Thanks, Double D, for the link. Again, you know, I don't always agree with everything he says, but when it comes to McKenzie DeArmas and Wizards, that's one thing we can agree on. Because
We're laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizards, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show. Mischief in the classroom, potions gone astray. Flying through the quad, now brighter every day. Laughter we cry hard, sneaking out at night. Cloaks in the moonlight, everything feels right.